I read something. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but about brain surgery that you had.
Yeah. I actually ended up having to have it twice. Lucky me.
Jeez.
Wow.
So I think it was 2011. It actually was kind of frustrating because I started out playing awesome that year. I had already had a couple top tens, and it kind of felt it starting affecting me at the PGA Tour and at the Players Championship, and I was like fourth or fifth at the time. But I started getting like dizzy, and I thought, well, maybe it's inner ear infection or something like that, and ended up finishing that week. I think I got a top 10, but the stuff didn't get away. So we saw a doctor at the Players, and it was ear infection, and went to Texas the next week and saw somebody else who wasn't any better, and they said it was vertigo. So I tried to do all the vertigo stuff, and that wasn't helping either. I was getting bad migraines or headaches as well, sensitivity to light. Finally found out that, fifth or sixth doctor, that it was Chiari malformation. And then basically that means the hole in the base of your skull where your spinal cord and everything goes through, my brain was kind of going down through that and setting on my skull, which was stopping spinal fluid from flowing.
Wow.
And it's one of those things that you're kind of born with. And some people it doesn't ever really affect. And sometimes it does affect people, but it's usually kind of when it did, it was kind of my late 20s. And if I had a desk job, it would have been fine. It wasn't that bad. Probably wouldn't have noticed it. I mean, it just flat, or I could play basketball and it wasn't too bad. But, I'd be playing golf and I'd be hitting it fine. And then I would just lay the sod over one. I'd hit like 2 inches behind it. I mean, the last tournament I played, I had to start wearing sunglasses. Like I said, I was sensitive to that. I never done that before. And PGA Championship, like 2 under through 4, hammer drive, hitting like 6 iron into this par 5. So, starting out good, and I hit like 1.5 inches behind the ball and it 50 yards short in the water. Make like a double, and it was just shot. I mean, it'd be different if that was like my miss my whole life, but I just never did that.
Right.
So it was affecting me enough that like I could make a cut, but I never really finished better than like 50th. So we finally, once we find out what it was, got to a good doctor, and he said, yes, this is definitely something we should fix. And you should be, as much as a doctor can say, this would help. So so pretty much about a week after that, it was pretty quick. It was kind of like, yes, you need surgery. It would help. And then a few days later, I was having brain surgery, which was, scary. But at the same time, I knew I couldn't sustain PGA Tour doing that. And as far as brain surgeries go, he said it was a 1 out of 10. So it was easy for him, but still brain surgery. So went in, they had to cut a piece of my skull out, the base of it, to give the brain more room. And then they put like a titanium plate and pulled it back, and then glued it and put it back, and then started the process to, you're surprised how much you use your neck muscles to drive or do anything.
Yeah.
And so they had to cut those muscles and had to do rehab. But about a month after the surgery, I got like a fluid pocket on the back of my head and was starting to get dizzy. And we said, this isn't, I don't feel right. And they're like, oh no, it's fine. It's sometimes that happens like that. And I was at home doing like a pro-am thing for, I wasn't playing obviously, but I was driving around in my hometown and talking to some people, and just felt awful. Went home, ended up getting really sick, throwing up, ended up going to the hospital that night. And I woke up, I got air vac to Baltimore. I woke up there, and turns out I'm like the 1 in 50,000 or something. It's allergic to the adhesive that they used.
Oh no.
So I had like chemical meningitis. So ended up getting there, and they said, well, you could get over this way, but the easiest thing is just to go back in there and have surgery again and fix it and sew it back up like that. So I said, all right, well, let's do that. So then I went back under the knife. They went back in there and did that again, and then started the process again to heal up, and was able to get back to where I could start San Diego about, I guess it was 5 or 6 months later. And I wasn't 100% at the time, but it was kind of one of those things, the way the I'd kept my card for the year. So the way it works is, if you play a certain amount of events, it counts as a full year. If you play like 12 events. So if I'd have waited till I was 100% in half the year, I'd have played 12 events and it would have counted as a full year anyways. So I was like, I'm like 75% now. Screw it. Let's just start and I'll just play my way back into. And so it was an emotional moment teeing off. And it was like, okay, I mean, because, it was surgery and I was supposed to get back, but you just don't know how that stuff's going to go. So got back and I hit my first tee shot and I was like, all right, now let's get better and win. So, it was, everybody, that's just kind of the mindset you got to have. It was like, all right, you got to this point, you did it. Congratulations. Now let's go down to, let's climb another mountain.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.
Thanks for tuning in to Studio 22.